Good morning, everyone. This is indeed a good morning for Charleston County School District and the City of Charleston. And today we are highlighting authentic international work by principals of our CCSD schools who are motivated by a desire to provide all of our students with life-changing educational opportunities. We are celebrating the support of our schools are receiving from the city on this critical initiative. And we are promoting collaboration between our schools and between our district and the city. Indeed, this is a good morning in CCSD. Many of these individuals standing here today, specifically Dr. Barbara Dilligard, Executive Principal of Burke High School, Cheryl Swinton, Principal of Simmons-Pinckney Middle School, Stephanie Spann, Principal of Julian Mitchell Elementary, Amber Sines, Principal of Charleston Progressive Academy, Wanda Sheets, and Principal of Sanders-Clyde Elementary, Janice Malone, who spoke at a board meeting back in the spring about the District 20 Principal Collaboration Program funded by the American Rescue Plan, or ESSER 3. I just want you to know the energy level at which they spoke about the D20 PCP was motivating. Dare I say that it was infectious. There were applause from everyone in the room that night. We know and trust these school leaders who are committed to changing lives, the lives of our most precious commodity, which is our children. They are committed to serving our families and making sure they have what they need to help their children become successful. They are committed to supporting teachers in this feeder pattern so that they stay and form a lifelong relationship with the children that they are educating within our system. Stakeholders should know that we as a district are committed to the same things and changes, and we are committed to spreading the news about this work. We need people in downtown Charleston and beyond to know our students are participating and experiencing experiences like the Van Gogh Immersive Experience, receiving swimming lesson through the City of Charleston, and are creating student success plans with their teachers in their school. Please don't hesitate to call these schools and ask about the D20 PCP plan. Ask about what it is and how your child can benefit from it, and maybe how you can help these schools lift all the children that come through their doors. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for your courage, and thank you for your continued interest in our schools. Before I close, I would like to recognize our superintendent, Mr. Don Kennedy, the mayor of the city of this beautiful Charleston area, the Honorable John Tecklenburg, our D20 PCP team leader principal, Janice Malone, and our District 20 student representative. They all will be speaking to you today. I would also like to recognize the District 20 Principal Collaboration Program Officer, LaShawna Watkins, and the D20 PCP Manager, Denise Haynes, and thank them for their work on this initiative. I'll now turn the program over to our former CCSD Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Barbara Dilligard, now working with our District 20 principals on this initiative. Dr. Dilligard.
Good morning, and thank you, Chairman Mack, for that beautiful summary of how we got to where we are today, and we are so appreciative to the Board of Trustees. Today, we formally announce a wonderful opportunity that may only happen in a lifetime, and we are just so pleased to be here working with the students in this creative way. I was asked to share with you how we got started, but before I do that, I want to recognize by name and persons the principals who are present today. Right behind me is Principal Malone from Sanders-Clyde. And next is Principal Cheryl Swinton from Burke High School and Principal Wanda Sheets from Charleston Progressive. The other two principals are engaged in other things and could not reschedule, but they sent teacher representatives, and we thank you for being present with us today. You know, when people give you a challenge and it seems to be insurmountable, but you pray and you say, I have a need, I have a want, I have a purpose. And so I was blessed by these 5 principals because their superintendent, in an effort to try to find ways of closing the achievement gap and making the district throughout the one that he would want to be the district at all parents feel that they're getting everything that they need for their children. He gave those principals, all principals, a challenge. And he said, we have these funds to do the things to catch us up from COVID. We have these funds to make our schools and our students better. So bring me something that I can support. And I want to keep saying those words because I think that was the clarion call. Help, and we believe that you have some answers to this. So Superintendent Kennedy challenged the principals, and these 5 principals under the leadership of Janice Malone got together and said, we have ideas. We need somebody to help us glue it together so that it flows. And I was blessed to be the one that they called and said, would you come and help us? We only have a few days to make it. And with the help of my dear friend Anita Huggins and others who said, let's do this, we got started. And so with these principals and now our newly staff members, LaShawna, oh, where is she? Okay, she's over here. LaShawna Watkins and Denise Haynes, and on first day today is our administrative assistant, Shauna Thomas. We are so pleased to also, I see Ms. Hilton and other parent advocates, because this is not a one-person silo work. This is a group work, and the parent advocates at each of the schools have joined with us. And as we begin to hire 40 family coaches who will go out and work with the families on academics, on other needs, and to connect all of the community resources to the needs of these students and these families, we are so grateful. We are about to hire 40 family coaches. We have been blessed that we have great applicants. And the one thing that they all say is, whether I get hired or not, I want to be a part of this movement because this is what we've been needing for a long time. So they are excellent people out there who really see the need, who are passionate about what needs to be done, and they want to join us. I don't want to leave without saying thank you to our mayor, and thank you to my buddy, Mike Wack, and the many people in the city of Charleston when we said we wanted to offer swimming, because we live in the seaport city and a lot of people don't know how to swim, especially our kids. But we were able to get students during the summer in a quick start, but the mayor and the city council members and the staff said, we'll help you. And we were able to teach 18 kindergartners through 8th graders how to swim. And they will be getting their little swimming badges in a future ceremony. The parents were delighted, and we are too. There's so much going on that you will hear more about, but some highlights are listed in a handout that I brought for you today. If you would note those. We're excited, extremely excited about over 260 kids going to see the Van Gogh immersive experience. And you can't wait to see what they said about it. We gave them a survey after they came back. The teachers were careful to prep them and let them look at a documentary about Van Gogh, so they knew what they were going to see when they went to see it. And the beautiful comments that they made, and the high ratings that they gave that experience speaks volumes. You will be hearing and seeing more about that. We just launched on last evening our adult and community center, and we are excited about the fact that what Janice Malone always says is you can't take the goldfish out of the water, give them all the wonderful things, and then turn around and put them back in the lake that's murky. So we're going to clean the lake. We're going to help make the situation all around that student better. And so we have lots of community support. We continue to thank people as they call when they hear about the program and say, what can I do? And that's the spirit that's going to make this happen. And so without any further ado, I want to thank you for being here. I appreciate all of the encouragement. And now I want to introduce my pleasure, the man that made this a possibility for us in marshaling through this project and allowing us to take the efforts, the dream, the passion, and bring it to fruition. Our superintendent, Mr. Don Kennedy.
So thank you very much, Dr. Delgard. So I'll be back up in a couple of minutes. I think in terms of the order of service, we're going to ask Ms. Janice Malone, the principal over at Sanders-Clyde, to come up first, and then I'll be back.
Good morning. Good morning. Indeed, this is an exciting opportunity for us in District 20. And I'm just so blessed to be a part of something that's been long overdue. So I wanted to thank our chairman, first of all, Dr. Eric Mack, for also being a part of it and cheering us on for his support. I definitely want to thank our mayor, Tecklenburg, for also being here as always. He's very hands-on, and that's wonderful. And again, I want to also thank our superintendent, Kennedy, who saw the need, and he answered our call. He made it all possible. So we're just so excited about this opportunity. As Dr. Delgard said, as we think about student achievement and what can we do, the school cannot do it alone. And we realize in the buildings, we see our children on a daily basis, and we see the needs of our children. But in order to increase student achievement, we had to provide support, and that support has to happen beyond our four walls. And so the D20 PCP, which is our D20 Principal Collaboration Program, will allow us to make the difference that we know that our children need. It's going to be so many opportunities that will be provided to our scholars and their families, such as the Van Gogh experience. It was one of many to come. The scholars from our schools will never forget it. And with that in the classroom, they were able to talk about it. They were able to write authentically about their experience, and that will carry them for a lifetime. So we're looking forward to more of those experiences. We have a few of our scholars here, and I would just like to call a few of them over to say a few words about the Van Gogh experience. Reagan, would you like to just tell us one thing you liked about it?
Hi, my name is Reagan, and I represent the school of Simmons-Pinckney Middle School, and I really had liked the Van Gogh experience because it was very calming and peaceful.
Thank you. Thank you. Where's Brandon? Brandon, would you like to tell us about your experience at Van Gogh? Brandon's our 5th grader from Sanders-Clyde.
Good morning. Good morning. What I like most about the Vincent Van Gogh experience is all the facts about his life, and that I learned that he's an expressionist artist.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
Okay, one from, we have Burke. Okay.
Hi, I'm William. I'm a senior at Burke, and just getting the chance to be at the Van Gogh exhibit was much more than I thought it would be. I expected a lot more just paintings on the wall, but then having like a 37-minute slideshow with music to boot, it was way more emotional than I thought it was. I mean, just like if you get to just sit down, lay on a beanbag, or just look around and calm yourself, well, beautiful visuals of Van Gogh's work. His sketches become huge paintings. His face just looking around you all over the place. It's really something a lot of people can enjoy, and your own impression can be something that changed history, just like Van Gogh's impressions is now worth millions. When he was around, it wasn't worth that much, except to him, or except a few people that actually took the chance and looked at his pictures, his paintings. And we also can say that Da Vinci never finished most of his paintings, so even the unfinished can be something worth gold.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Charleston Progressive Academy is represented. State your name.
Hello, my name is Isabella Winter Mitchell, and I represent Charleston Progressive Academy. I have much adoration for the Van Gogh experience that I've just went on for a field trip. I definitely love how it showed me Van Gogh's humanity, how it showed me how Van Gogh learned how on a deeply understanding of the human desire in every vivid stroke of his painting through all places and through all paintings. And it showed me that in the Van Gogh experience much more than ever that I've ever understood it, and it really strengthened my comprehension of Van Gogh in a much adored statement. And it was definitely much more hands-on than I've ever experienced, and it was really great.
Thank you. I think we've had someone for all schools. Okay, so there it goes. Wasn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Good. So, in keeping with that, we're looking forward to more opportunities for our children, more Lyceum experiences, more speakers that will engage our children, inform them. We're looking more for volunteers and community partners that will make experiences in the sports and the arts, just so much more available for our children. So that's just a sample of what's to come. Our number one goal is to markedly increase student academic performance in reading and math. We're in the process of tailoring after-school programs and tutoring services to match the specific needs of our students based on individual student data. With all of that, we know that's our number one goal, to do that. And one important aspect of this program is to provide quality time for teachers across the feeder system so that teachers can collaborate with one another, and teachers across grade levels, within grade levels, and various departments, where they have the opportunity to come together and really build and expand their toolbox. They will focus on conversations around standards, research-based strategies, engaging activities, how to deal with challenges that they all face in Title I schools. And so we're looking forward to that opportunity to make that happen. We realize in order to sustain student growth and achievement, we must give attention to the family as well. As Dr. Dilligard stated, I always say the school cannot do it. And so when we think about the student being the fish, our students being the fish, and we throw so many things at that fish, let's fix that fish, let's fix that fish, and we all want to do that. But when we throw interventions and referrals and counseling and alternative schools, everything at the fish, just to find that they return to us on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a yearly basis with some of the same issues. And so we have to think about where that fish lives. And that fish lives in the lake being the community. So when we think about the community, the families and the community, what can we do to support the community? What can we do to support the family so that our children are coming to us more prepared, happier, and the attendance increases, so we know we had to help our families as well. So one of the things that we're doing is we're looking at family mapping. We're very carefully and deliberately looking at the needs of the family And we're looking for those families that really, really need intense support. And through that, one strategy, once we identify the families with the most need or greatest challenges of their children succeeding in school, we thought about how can we sustain that support for our family on a regular basis. And so that's where the family coaches will come in. The family coaches will spend quality time, at least 10 hours a week, for a total of 60 hours a month, working with that family to guide them, to mentor them, to coach them, so that they can effectively access resources, they can effectively articulate their frustrations and challenges, they can more effectively advocate for their children, actively engage in civic responsibilities, and improve their own academic and vocational skills. All of this in order to truly understand how important it is for them, our families, our community, to become actively engaged in the educational process for their children and for themselves. So we're very, very excited about all of these opportunities, and you'll hear more about those opportunities. So we ask you to join us. We want you to support us, pray for us, and let's just come together as a team to make a difference in starting with D20, but hopefully we can replicate that all throughout Charleston County and everywhere where support is needed. So I thank you for this opportunity to share that with you. And now I'm going to turn it over to our distinguished superintendent. I must say, as we thought about this, and the ESSER funds became available, we were thinking, what can we really do now that we have the opportunity, this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? What can we really, really do? And so I shared my heart with my colleagues. And as Dr. Delegard said, we only had a short amount of time. And Mr. Kennedy came to see me in my office. And I said, okay, I'm just going to tell him what I'm thinking, what we're feeling. And he took out his notepad and he was writing every detail. I said, was that to make me feel good, or is he really going to do something about this? So I want to thank Mr. Kennedy for really, really taking it to heart and making sure that it happened. He approved it, and I'm sure he faced many obstacles. So I thank you, Mr. Kennedy. And now our superintendent, Don Kennedy.
So good morning, everyone. This is actually a first for me. This is the first time I've given a single talk. It was introduced twice. So thank you, Ms. Malone, and thank you, Dr. Delegard. And so thank you to the downtown principals and Dr. Delegard for taking on this initiative and making it possible. I did have the pleasure to attend one of the Van Gogh experiences with students from downtown. I remember the yellow T-shirts. So it was certainly an experience for me that I thoroughly enjoyed. As most of you all know, we have this new vision of all kids reading on grade level by grade 5 by the spring of 2027. And the downtown proposal, this initiative, is important to that it represents the principal-led effort to ensure that the students, the elementary students on the peninsula, reach that goal so that when they matriculate into secondary schools, they are prepared to do the work in the secondary level. So the collaboration among the principals will ensure that our feeder pattern downtown, that is elementary school kids going into the middle school kids feeding up into the high school, that once they have an opportunity to have an effective and really an education that's really that's going to make sure that they have a great future. And with the guidance from the former Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Barbara Delegard, and all these wonderful principals, this work will support the board's new goals and around student outcomes. And these goals on student outcomes mean what do students need to know and what do they need to be able to do. What do they need to know and what do they need to be able to do. So there are three goals. There are goals on reading or literacy. There's a goal on making sure that kids understand math. So that goes around Algebra 1 in the early secondary grades, and then that's a grade on a goal on college and career readiness. College and career readiness. So in the graduating class of 2021, so last year, only 67.7% of our graduating seniors here in CCSD were deemed college and career ready by the state standards. And then when you break those numbers down, only 42% of African American students. So that means 58%, or almost 6 out of 10 African American students, left our system after 13 years, and they were not prepared for post-work in college after K-12. And so this initiative is going to make sure that we change that outcome. So in addition to these 3 goals, the board is also adopting 5 what they call guardrails. These guardrails represent what the values of the community, what those values are. So guardrail number 1 is to ensure that in addition when our students graduate from high school, they have the academic background that they need, that they also have the soft skills that are needed to be able to work effectively, whether it's in college, in the military, or in careers right after high school. The second one, that guardrail, is that I, the superintendent and staff, will ensure that we provide social and emotional learning for our students. The third guardrail is to make sure that whenever we get ready to roll out across the district major initiatives, that we have real stakeholder engagement before we do so and make a recommendation to the school board. The fourth one is to ensure that that our students are not the students, the staff. They have high expectations for all of our students. I spend a lot of time in schools, and I know that's an area that we need to work on. And the final guardrail is to make sure that we create a positive culture within with our staff. Now, this initiative here, I've begun to talk about with others, and begun to do some work on this, creating what we're calling a K-12 ecosystem. So it's not just the responsibility of CCSD, but it's forming these partnerships so that collectively across the community, across the county, we can make sure that we have ownership for the well-being of our students. And to that end, I'm really honored that the Mayor Tecklenburg, is taking on this partnership with CCSD. So it's an honor to have him come up and talk about the work of Charleston County and what he's doing with this partnership. Mayor Tecklenburg, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Don, Superintendent, for providing the resources, you and Chairman Mack and the school board for providing the resources for this program. Dr. Gilligard, thank you for being the glue that kind of brings this together and makes it all work. But my biggest thanks is to the principals and to the teachers. That's where the rubber really hits the road. Could we recognize our principals and teachers? It's their commitment that will make a difference. And you just heard the superintendent give those statistics. That's what the achievement gap is all about. That 77% of students, African American students, not being ready for a job or higher education. That's a big gap, y'all. I've always believed that education is the great equalizer in society. And for us to provide that equalization, we've got to close that achievement gap. And that's what this PCP is all about, driven by the principals who are the leaders of their schools and the teachers. And they will have this 3-part program focusing on student support directly. But very importantly, and you don't always hear the families and the guardians of the students being brought in so closely into the effort by way of the coaches they will be providing to the families. That's going to make a critical difference, because when that scholar, that student gets home, they need the support of their home environment. And then to support our teachers, that's the third important step of this initiative. And so it takes a community, right? It takes a community, and that's why the City of Charleston is committed in every way that we can, Dr. Dilligard, to be a part of this. And be it swimming lessons this past summer and going forward, other recreational programs that we can help provide the students, after school activities at our rec centers, cultural programs through our partners like the Gilliard Auditorium. They have a fabulous arts outreach program, kids, and I appreciate the Van Gogh experience you went to, but we're going to have some great cultural arts experiences for you this year through some of our city partners. Speaking of which, this Saturday at Arthur Christopher Gym, right across from Burke High School, we have STEMA-Palooza, which is focusing on science, technology, engineering, and math in partnership with the Black Engineers Association and the City of Charleston to provide opportunities. It's really going to be fun, kids. Y'all come out to Arthur Christopher Gym this coming Saturday. The Mayor's Book Club and the Lending Library program that we just announced a week or so ago, that we're providing books to kids and online library services as well that we can provide through the New York Public Library. And I wasn't originally going to mention this, but public safety is the #1 job of city government, and we received the kindest recognition from Principal Swinton at Burke High School just yesterday. Chief Reynolds shared with me your letter. Thank you so much. Recognizing how responsive the Charleston Police Department was just last week on a call. As it turned out, it was a hoax. There was no danger, but we were there. They bravely went right to work, came into the building. They weren't waiting for anybody. They went in to see what was up and where they could be of assist. And we stand ready, as always, to help provide for public safety for all of our students can learn. So, I think that's another point to make. All of these programs are available for all students, but the focus here of trying to close that achievement gap for Charleston and this community, everyone involved, I tip my hat to you. It's just what we need in Charleston. It's what we need in this society to create those opportunities for all our kids. Thank you for the work you're all doing. And I don't know who we're supposed to go back to now.
I think that's it.
Ms. Malone?
Let's see. Okay, so another point that I want to make is Mayor Tecklenburg alluded to is how important it is for in order for this to work, I must say thank you, how much I appreciate our teachers, because our teachers are the boots on the ground. They are in the classroom on a daily basis, spending hours planning, hours preparing, hours thinking. So it doesn't stop at 3 o'clock for our teachers. They work long hours into the evening. They're working on the weekends. They come in the building on the weekends. They're always thinking about what more can we do. So now to know that we have the support of our community, that lake, we would like, of course, to address the groundwater, but that's systemic, that's generational, that's centuries. So we can at least look at what's close to us. And again, I just can't say enough about our teachers. And we know that in District 20, there's a lot of work to do, and it is exhausting. And so what we wanted to do is show our teachers how much we appreciate them. How can we recruit and retain quality teachers? One thing, and I'm so thankful for D20 that we were able to do, is that provide daycare for our staff, because we know the cost of daycare is rising, and teachers, compared when all of their salary go into child care, especially if you have more than one, that becomes cost effective, very costly. So when teachers have to decide do I work or do I stay at home? So to be able to lighten their burden by providing a D20 PCP child care center at Charleston Progressive Academy, that will make all the difference. And I want our teachers to know from all of us how much we appreciate all that they do every day for our children. So it does take a village, but it does take our entire community. It does take the partnerships like the Gilliard, all of the City of Charleston. It does take all of us. This is a community effort. So we want to just thank everyone for being here, being a part of that. And of course, this work, we as principals cannot do the intense work that this project requires. And so I was so thankful that when we called Dr. Dilligard, she accepted, and she works almost 24/7 on this project. And so we knew that she needed support that we couldn't give her on a regular basis. And we wanted to find someone who had the passion to do this work, who felt just as strongly, if not more so, than the rest of us. And we looked for an officer. And I tell you, when Ms. Watkins interviewed, when she shared that this was always her dream as a 16-year-old, wanting to give back to her community, and all the things, she brought her notebook with ideas that she's been writing down since she was 16 years old on how to help families and children, because we were once those children. Our families were once that fish. And so the cycle will continue, and we just want to make a difference. So I just want Ms. Watkins to come up and say a few words and close us out.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is LaShawna Watkins, and I am the Family and Community Engagement Officer for the D20 project. And what Ms. Malone said is true. I am a product of Charleston County Schools. I'm from a little small area that most people don't even know exists until you say it, and it's Red Top, South Carolina. And I've seen what gentrification and years of just systemic issues can do to a community, what it can do to a city, what it can do to a family. And I want to help in combating a lot of those systemic things. And I want to acknowledge that, in all honesty, parents are the experts when it comes to their children. And we in a school building can only do so much, but it has to be a fusion of what happens outside of school and what happens inside of school to truly make change for students. So the D20 PCP, it is a dream of mine since I was 16 years old. And it's just this idea of bringing back this village mentality, because I grew up with a village, and the village is why I stand here today and I speak to you all, and I know how meaningful a village can be. So I am looking forward to all of the things that we have planned for the D20 PCP, and I look forward to all of the different components of the village reaching out, providing resources, providing their talents, providing their insight, because we all have something amazing within us to contribute. So I just want to say thank you all for this experience, thank you all for this opportunity, and thank you all for being here today. Thank you.
All right.
We have questions. We have some time for questions.
Happy birthday. I got a gift for you.
Any questions? Covered everything?
No, it was a week.
Very good. All right, good. Thank you. All right. Thank you, sir.
I want to thank the communication for setting this up and making it like Hollywood.
Hollywood, South Carolina?
No, Hollywood.
Thank you so much.